Okay. I'm trying to do this history homework, and my brain is actually like leaking out of my ears. Who cares about the East India Company's tax policies? This permanent settlement thing, more like permanently gonna put me to sleep.
Oppressive? You think reading is oppressive? Oh my god, you have no idea. For real. Okay, you know what? I'm about to drop some actual receipts from the textbook you're literally crying about. So yeah, buckle up. This gets wild.
All right, so take it out. It's 1765, right? The East India Company is basically, I don't know, like a giant trading company. Think Amazon, but for spices and stuff. And then, out of nowhere, the Mughal emperor just hands them this massive promotion. Bam, they're the Diwan of Bengal.
And you know they had to make a huge deal out of it. So they get this super epic painting made. It's giving major, like, Instagram versus reality vibes. Because look, the painting shows this whole majestic ceremony. But the real event? It happened in some dude's tent. And the best part? The guy in charge, Robert Clive, he's the one who commissioned the painting. Like, talk about trying to control the narrative.
Whoa, hold up. D1, what even is that? CFO? So you're telling me a for-profit company just became the government? Is that even legal? How does that work?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Suddenly they were in charge of everything. The land, the resources, all the money.
And their game plan was, let's just say it was super sketchy. Their whole goal was just to squeeze every last penny out of the place. They wanted to buy cotton and silk for basically nothing, and then use Bengal's own money to pay for everything they were shipping out. There was no real system, no thought for the future.
Dude, that's not a business plan. That's like the worst startup pitch ever. So guys, my idea is we just take all the money and dip.
Yeah, I bet that worked out great for everyone.
Oh yeah, it was a complete and total disaster. I'm talking the whole economy just imploded, almost overnight. Artisans were getting paid so little for their work, they literally just fled their villages. And the peasants, they couldn't afford the insane taxes, so farming just collapsed.
Wait, seriously? It happened that fast?
Yeah, that fast. It got so bad that in 1770, a massive famine hit, and it killed 10 million people.
10 million? That's like 1/3 of the entire population. It's so easy to just read that number in a book and not think about it. But when you look at a picture like this, these were actual people at a market. They had lives, families, and it was all just gone. Man, that's actually heartbreaking.
I know, right? So you'd think after, causing a famine that wiped out millions, the company might try to fix things. And, well, they did try. Their fix was to come up with brand new ways to collect even more money. Spoiler alert, it did not go well.
So they rolled out 3 different plans. The first one was the permanent settlement. Yeah, the one you were just complaining about. The idea was to just fix the tax rate forever and then have these landlords called zemindars go and collect it.
Okay, that doesn't sound that bad, I guess.
Yeah, except the tax they fixed it at was insanely high. Plus, the zemindars had zero reason to actually improve the land. So the peasants were screwed, and the company didn't get any extra profit when things went well. It was a lose-lose. Then they tried these other 2 systems, the Mahatma and the Ryotwari, which were basically just different flavors of let's make the peasants pay way too much money.
So you're telling me that every single one of their plans was a total L for the farmers? Like there was just no way for them to win?
Nope, not a chance. There's this quote from a guy named Colebrook, writing way back in 1806. He basically said the peasants were stuck in this endless cycle of debt. The rent was so high, they could never, ever get out from under it. It was a financial prison.
Jeez. So, drowning in debt, farms are failing. That's gotta be rock bottom, right? It can't get any worse than that.
Oh, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But oh no. The company found another way to make things even more miserable. Bet. Let's talk about Indigo.
Ooh. Okay, not gonna lie, these prints are actually sick. That blue color is super rich.
Right? It's a gorgeous color. But the story of how they got that dye, it is completely unhinged.
Okay, so Europe had its own blue dye, this stuff called woad. But it was kind of blah, pale and dull. Indian indigo, though, it made this incredible, rich, vibrant blue. It had serious main character energy, and all the cloth dyers in Europe were obsessed with it.
So the demand just went through the roof. Get this, by 1810, 95% of all the indigo coming into Britain was from India. So, naturally, the company figured, hey, we should just force Indian farmers to grow this for us.
And the system they set up was a complete scam. They'd make farmers, the riots, sign these contracts and take cash loans up front, which immediately trapped them in debt. Then, they were forced to plant indigo on their best soil, at least a quarter of their land, which meant they couldn't grow rice to, eat. And the kicker? Indigo plants have these super deep roots that just wreck the soil so nothing would grow there afterwards.
No way! That is a total ripoff. That's like being grounded forever, but you also have to pay your parents for the privilege of being grounded. That's insane.
Hang on, what is this picture? What's this guy doing?
He's a vat beater. Their job was to stand in waist-deep water for more than 8 hours a day, beating the indigo solution.
8 hours in waist-deep water? That's not just cringe, that's straight up cruel. That's awful.
Okay, please tell me they fought back at some point. Like, did anyone ever stand up to these guys?
Oh, they absolutely did. And trust me, it was epic. It's known as the Blue Rebellion. Basically, the farmers finally had enough and just said, nah.
There's this amazing quote from one of the cultivators, a man named Haji Mullah. He literally told the commission investigating everything, "I am not willing to sow. I would rather beg than sow indigo." That's how fed up they were.
So in 1859, it all went down. They just refused to pay rent to the planters. They attacked indigo factories with swords and spears, and the women joined in, fighting with pots and pans and whatever kitchen stuff they could find. They boycotted anyone working for the planters and even beat up the agents who came to collect rent.
Wait, did you say they fought with pots and pans? That is so unhinged. What absolute legends. Slay.
It became such a massive movement that the government had to get involved. They created this thing called the Indigo Commission to investigate, and guess what? They found that the planters were guilty of using coercive and brutal methods. The commission declared that the farmers didn't have to grow indigo anymore if they didn't want to.
Wow. So they actually won? That's amazing. They were basically the OG system breakers, the original whistleblowers, taking down a system that was completely rigged.
It was a massive win. The rebellion literally caused the entire indigo production in Bengal to collapse. It's such a powerful example of how collective action can actually create change. Honestly, their fight is part of the long history of why we have the right to protest and stand up for ourselves today. Okay, you've made your point. I am never complaining about homework again. Fighting a whole corrupt system with a frying pan is definitely more intense. Maybe I should, actually finish this chapter?
Yeah, maybe you should. Look, I'll help you with the permanent settlement part. It's actually kind of interesting once you realize just how badly they messed everything up.